Okay, today we're going to learn how to handle high-resolution files such as that might come from a RED camera or from Arriflex cameras. Also, we're going to learn how to fix the color and to create proxies. Now, the files I'm using today, these were downloaded from the respective websites. So on the RED website, you can go to Learn, and you'll see on the bottom here, Learn, Sample R3D files. So now these are individual files. I also got some samples from Arriflex. So here's their website. I'll put these links in the description. So I went down the list here. So I believe I used these files. So we're using raw files here. Also from the RED site, I downloaded some LUTs. So LUTs stands for Lookup Table. It's sort of a preset, the best I can understand, but it sort of works like a preset. And I'm also going to include a link to a video that'll tell you how to install these and use them in Premiere. So I got those by going to Support, Downloads. Now this page may change, but what we're looking for is down here, we're looking for IPP2 output presets. So I downloaded these and I installed them, well, most of them anyway, in my Premiere. Okay, so let's bring in some files. So the best way, they say, is to use your media browser. I already created a favorite here in my media browser so I can get here quickly. So here's some high-res files. Let's get some RED files. So we'll select these. Right-click, I'll say Import. So there we go. Now I'm also going to import those Alexa files. If you look at those Alexa files on your file system or through Bridge, here they are. You'll see it's actually a folder with a million little files here. But when we use Media Browser, it's all consolidated into one file. This is also how RED files also come in most of the time. So let's bring in those files. So again, we'll go to Media Browser. And here's my Alexa 65 samples. So now you see in the Media Browser, we only have a single file. And we'll import these. Okay, there we go. Now, let's take a look at the info over here. So I did make a little change in my project files here. Let's hit the tilde key. So over here we see here's my video information, the size, and here's this little proxy tab. Now that's not there by default. So what I did was I right-clicked over here, metadata display. I typed in proxy to add it. So just check this. I'm just going to cancel this now. And then usually it ends up all the way on the right, but you can move these things around to rearrange them to where it's more convenient. So I moved the proxy and the video info to the front here because that's what I'm more concerned with. Okay, so let's hit the tilde key. Okay, let's take a quick look at our files here. So we can also rename these too if we like. So I'm going to call this one Alexa because that's the only Alexa. And this one I'll rename Venice so it's easier to see what we're doing. All right, I'll pause the recording and do the other two. Okay, so let's make a sequence. So I think I'll use Alexa here. Alexa is the biggest one. So I'll drag that over here. We won't bother to rename this. So you can see this looks very flat. So these are raw files. So this is the way to censor recorded things. So this is with nothing done to them. Now we're going to correct this using a LUT, a lookup table. So these I already downloaded from the RED website. So even though this is an Alexa file, we can use any kind of LUT that we like. And I'm going to include a link from someone else's video to show you how to install these LUTs on your Windows machine or your Mac machines. Seems to be the easiest way. Now, what I want to do is I want to apply it to the source file. So when we make proxies, we'll still have those settings applied to the proxy. So here's what I'm going to do. Well, where is this? This is the Alexa file here. So I'm going to go to my Lumetri window, Lumetri color. Now over here, these LUTs over here, these I installed on my machine after I download them. So I'm just going to pick the first one that says medium contrast. So there we go. Now I just made a mistake. This is selected. So I don't want that. So let's undo that. So let's make sure this is selected. When you click in the source panel, you see this becomes active. And let's do it that way. So let's pick, pick the second medium contrast. Seems to be nice. Whoa, that's a lot. Okay, well, whatever it is, doesn't matter for now. We'll leave it like that. And then I'm going to do the rest also. So I'll double click on them, make them appear in the source panel, and apply a LUT. So I'm pretty much going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick the first one that says medium contrast. Okay, so that looks good. So again, I'm going to pause the video and do the other two. Okay, so now all my files have that same LUT applied to it. And you can see if I go to my effects controls over here and I turn off the Lumetri color, I'll just pause it. You can see it's all ugly. Now also with the RED files, you also have a choice over here. We can use these reload from R&D, but we're not going to do it that way because that doesn't work out too well with the proxy. All right, let me put this back the way it was. I'll double click on editing, reset it. Okay, so these all have that same LUT applied to it. Now let's make proxies. Now we could have made proxies right off the bat. Through our media browser, we can click ingest over here, and we can say ingest, create proxies, and pick out the setting that we want. But now we're going to do it after the fact. So if you're going to do after the fact, let's go to our project panel and pick out the files that we want to create proxies. And then we could just right click and say proxy, create proxies. Pick out the settings that you want. So I'm using QuickTime because we do not want a compressed format. We do not want H.264. So actually, even though the file size might be bigger, this will be less work for Premiere because it doesn't have to expand it. So once it's compressed, it has to uncompress it. So we want to avoid that. So I'll just pick ProRes medium resolution proxy. I picked the location I want my proxies to go to, and I'll just click OK. Now once you do that, it's going to open up Media Encoder, which I have running already. Oh, so there you go. So it's sort of zipping along already. So again, I'm going to pause the video until it's finished. Okay, so they're all done. I'm going to close Media Encoder altogether since I don't think we need it anymore. Now let's put our files in our sequence here. So I'll just drag these in all at once. Okay, there we go. Let's hit the / key. Now these are the full resolution videos. Even though they look ugly here, you can see the LUT is applied up there. And now some of these will have to resize, which will just set the frame size. So right click, set to frame size. We're not going to worry about the black bars for now. We can, you should probably know how to fix that. So let's come over here, right click, set to frame size. Okay, beautiful. Now we're looking at the full resolution videos now. Now, how do we see the proxies? Well, we have to come over here. We have to get a little icon that we don't have. So let's click plus sign, and we want this guy over here, toggle proxies. And we'll drag it down here. So now we can turn them on. Also notice over here in our project panel, these all say that the proxy is attached. Let's play it the way it is. So most of these run fairly smooth anyway. This first one, the Alexa, can be a little choppy in places, although it's looking pretty good. Now, actually, I have the proxy applied. See, when this is blue, the proxy is applied. So let me unapply it and see what happens. So you can see this one is still pretty good, but it's a little bit choppy. All right, now we'll click on this, and this will toggle to use the proxy instead. So there we go. So now we're looking at the proxy image. So you can see they're all nicely color corrected using that same LUT. So let's see the difference in file size between the proxy and the original file. So let's go over here. Let's turn the proxy on, and let's zoom way in. We'll do 400%. Let's find a good spot. Okay, so you see here's that guy's shirt. Now this is the proxy. Now let's turn the proxy off. So let's find some detail. So you can see, let's find the buttons. Okay, here's the guy's button. So let's turn it back to the proxy. There's the proxy, there's the original. So you can see there's a big difference. Let's fit the way it was. And let's go take a look at the actual file size on the hard drive. So I'll use Bridge. So here's my proxy images. So you can see this Alexa proxy is 1280 by 720. So they're all 1280 by 720, but you can see the original image is like 6560 by 3100. Okay, so now when you render it, Premiere is going to take the high resolution image and use that. So it'll substitute it for the proxy. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll take a look. So I'm going to pause the video. Okay, so here's our rendered video, and you can see over here in Bridge, it's rendered at full resolution. Okay, so that's about it. So that's how I understand it so far. Of course, I'm still learning. So I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.